So today is day 10 without food, and I have to say I'm feeling pretty light, pretty clear, pretty fresh, all things considered. And I really feel like I could do this for a good while. Um, that said, the absence of food in your life, you do start to realize how kind of common it is around, and how much of people's lives really revolve around food, between, you know, doing breakfast and then meeting up for brunch or for lunch, and then what are we going to do for dinner, and then talking about, buying food, preparing the food, sitting down, eating the food, Instagramming the food. Like, you've got, TV ads, every second one is about food. On social media, the same. It's kind of just like, our whole kind of culture is really built around food as this kind of staple of society. And it's funny, when you kind of take that away, you realize how big a part it plays. So today I want to chat about being plant-based in today's world. And this is kind of something that I've had so many people come to me and say, oh, I wish I could do what you do, but it'd be so hard, and, I wouldn't know what to eat, and all my favorite foods would be gone. I couldn't survive without cheese. And, when I go out for dinner, what would I have? And it's really as simple as, you walk into any supermarket in the world, or go to a local, fresh produce market, and you've got instantly in the fruit and veg aisle just an array of colours. You've got fruit that you can just take and eat, and there's no cooking, there's no cleanup, there's no nothing. You know that you can live off a meal of that and be satisfied. Or you can take your vegetables and you can go and you can cook them up and make yourself a really healthy, sustaining meal, you know what I mean? And knowing that you have the power to do that you, like, for me, this year I've been to 13 different countries of all varying levels of poverty and affluence, and to know you can go to any one of these, and always, just worst comes to worst, you go and you buy, a couple of bags of fruit, and you are good to go, and you can live off that. Or if worst comes to worst, you could not eat for 10 days, but I don't really recommend that, just on the go. Just knowing that you have these options, though, really changes your whole perspective about it. So when it comes to cooking food, we'll assume for detox, that's your raw fruit and vegetables and maybe some steamed veggies. And that's going to always be as simple as possible. So that's your 70%. When we're talking about the 20-30%, where you want to spice things up a bit, or you've got people around for dinner and you want to cook up something and impress them, we're talking about putting together some kind of nice, fancy plant-based recipes. And most people wouldn't know where to begin. They've always had their, grown up with, lasagna, their spaghetti bolognese, their grilled chicken breast, or their pizzas, or whatever it is, were the staples back then. And it's like, how do I even get my head around some of these? It's like a new language. Well, like with learning a new language, let's say take, your French, you look at a French book, you don't understand anything. You start with basic words, you learn some basic sentences and how to structure them and how they work. And then after you learn enough sentences, you can start to compile your own sentences. So same way, you start learning about all these new foods. All right, that's a sweet potato, that's asparagus, that's, quinoa, that's, millet, that's whatever these weird ingredients you might have never heard of before, and how to combine them and how the flavors and stuff work together. And then once you've got kind of 10 staple kind of dinners that you can do, you're tired, you come home from work, you can bang it together in 20 minutes. And then once you start getting familiar with that and comfortable, you can really start to take different stuff and put it together. For instance, you learn that, mixing chia seed and water is an egg substitute. So you can use that in making banana pancakes, we'll say. So, or, you want to make vegan tacos, but you don't want to have the white flour tortillas. So you use, you can use big lettuce leaves or something, and all these different ways that you can, substitute stuff in and out and really kind of play with it and have fun with it. And then there's your sauces, your guacamoles, your hummus, how to make vegan mayonnaise, your salsas, all these kind of dips and stuff that come into it then as well, that you can, you can have a spread, salads, cooked veggies, different dishes, dips, and you can really like have good fun with it. And for me, I've actually never enjoyed eating and cooking as much as when I started doing it this way, because not only like eating something isn't just about the the sensation in the mouth, the taste sensation in the mouth anymore. It's about the overall, the digestion, how it feels in your stomach afterwards for the few hours, and then even how your energy, and then how your bowel movements are later that day. It's like, if you eat pizza, okay, it tastes good, but then you feel like crap afterwards. So it's about learning that eating is not just about the short-term pleasure, it's about the overall feeling and how you feel every day. When it comes to eating out then in the real world, this is where a lot of people kind of feel like they're going to struggle, because they're used to going into a restaurant and having a menu with 50 options and they can choose freely. But the thing is, if you change your expectation, and first of all, if you know that and you're confident that you walk into a restaurant that they're always going to have something. As I said, I've been to 13 countries this year, all variations, and all would have meat and cheese as staples in the local dishes. And I've never ever had a problem with getting a good, solid, big spread of plant-based stuff. Particularly in places like Asia and South America and all these, you don't want to be messing with the meat too much anyway, because there's obviously lower quality and higher chance of maybe getting something like food poisoning. So sticking to veggies is actually probably better in the long run anyway. So what you want to do is, if you're going into these restaurants, you want to know that you want to look for like your salads and your dishes that are going to, maybe you have to hold cheese, or you have to change the dressing for a balsamic dressing and stuff. But if you approach it normally with a very open mind and a very like, it'll be fine kind of thing, then normally the waiter and the chefs can do something for you. I found even in the toughest, but even in a steakhouse, you can go and you can get side salad, you can get steamed veggies, you can get baby potatoes, you can maybe get hummus, you can get all these things. And it's really, as I said, as long as the other 80% of the time you're eating the way you normally would eat, then it's fine, as long as you can keep it plant-based pretty much when you go out. Then it's a once-off kind of thing. For me, I'm lucky I have the opportunity to eat out pretty much most days for about 9-10 months of the year. And even at that, I always find that you can always have options, you can always compromise and get a good solid plant-based meal whenever you go. And then of course, if you go to somewhere like Bali, or where they've got the raw foods, and that's when you'll really be in heaven. That's when you'll kind of lose your mind, when you get good vegan restaurants that do specifically that stuff. Then you're in heaven. But for the day-to-day world, there's more than enough options always out there. Finally then, just like checking ahead on Google, having a look what kind of plant-based friendly options are in your town or in your city. And there's also a really good app called Happy Cow and a few others like that that will have, they will list what restaurants have good vegan and veggie options in them. If you just plan ahead a bit, then you'll always be happy. And at the end of the day, you're gonna want to just go for dinner with friends to really spend time with them and catch up with them. And it's about the spending time, not always just about the food, because you can get food anywhere, but it's about going for the meal. So as long as you can go and you can get something, it doesn't matter if you have to go and get something else after, or you eat before, if there's not going to be any good options in this restaurant. It doesn't mean you have to compromise on your health in order to please anyone else. So I hope that was all pretty helpful, and yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow for talking about some lovely symptoms of detox.